Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am your boy, Retro Bliss, and you are on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. If you're from our channel, thank you. If not, you're probably watching from Mike's Gaming Gala. We simulcast over there as well. And speaking of Mike, we're going to have him come in with Brian in a minute, but we have an exciting podcast tonight. We have Eduardo Mello of OpCode Games, and there is a lot going on that we're going to talk about tonight. So without further ado, let's bring in the panelists first, and then we'll bring in Eduardo first. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, Brian, what's happening?
Hey,
and last but not least, Eduardo. Hi, Eduardo. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Man, we are so excited to have you in here. There is a lot going on at OpCode Games.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean,
just the past month and a half, there's been so many announcements.
True.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like more though. Like each of those announcements announce multiple games.
Right.
Yes.
So, I kind of have, I found a website that has a bio on you, and it's way too long to read and to go over every detail because you have a long, detailed history about how you got started and how you've ended up where you are. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started? You started out programming, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a hard question to answer. It depends on exactly what you want to know. Where exactly I start what.
Well, the bio talked about your time in college. I vaguely remember something about you got frustrated because the people around you were such nerds that you kind of got, I don't know if this is correct or not. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this website's all there, but basically you kind of went out on your own and just decided to program games. So how did that happen? Am I wrong?
Well, first of all, probably more. No, I'm the nerdist of all of them, so I don't think that's true.
Okay.
But yeah, what happened was I am from Brazil, right? And I went to college. I was doing computer engineering. And my dream was always to work with video games and stuff like that. And in Brazil, we didn't have an industry for that, so there was no reason to try to pursue that kind of career. So college was a difficult time for me, and that's when I start taking or considering the idea of doing video games more seriously as a hobby, of course. But anyways, for me it was a way to escape the sad reality that I was living. So that's when I started working with the ColecoVision, and I started probably around mid-90s something, and then I got my first game release in 2002, I think. So it was a long time ago.
What was that first game?
The first game was Space Invaders Collection.
Okay.
One thing that I knew was I knew that I want to do arcade ports. It was an obsession of mine since forever. Yeah, exactly.
Like that one?
That one, yes. So I want to do arcade ports, and I sort of had three games in my short list was Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong. And I decided to start with Space Invaders because I thought, well, this is oldest for the list, right? So it should be easier. I was wrong, of course, but but yeah, it was interesting.
So why the ColecoVision? Because I know you said you kind of came from Brazil, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of we always hear the stories about the Master System being the big thing.
Or
down
before
there.
that, the Odyssey 2. The Odyssey 2 was big in Brazil.
Right. So what made
All right.
you go with the ColecoVision of all of them?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Yes, I'm from Brazil. In Brazil, officially, we got video game consoles, all of them in 1983. We got the Odyssey 2 in April, the Atari, I believe, was October, and December we got intellivision. So everything was happening very fast, and it was happening very fast for me as well, because probably until 82, I never heard about home consoles before. I was a boy living in a small town in Brazil. So in 1983, before I had the chance, actually, before those consoles had been released, I got a new friend at school, and his family was very wealthy, and I believe his father had some business in the US or something. So he was traveling. His father was traveling all the time and bringing all the cool stuff. And he had an Atari VCS and the ColecoVision. So that's how I start playing ColecoVision. I play a
And
lot
when
of
you
video.
compare those two, at least graphically,
It's
Right.
here's the thing. Maybe for you, because you're here, you knew the Atari before, you played ColecoVision first. I played both the same day for the first time. So I guess initially for me, they're like, everything is so fun. I don't care. But yes, with time you start. Oh, okay, this console can do things that clearly.
Yeah.
And eventually, I got my Atari that Christmas in '83. So yeah, then I started noticing the difference. But the second reason probably has to do moving for 2 years. I got MSX.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And the MSX is pretty similar hardware.
Yeah.
To the ColecoVision.
A lot of the ColecoVision homebrews are MSX ports. It's similar.
I have a story for you about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Finish this story and then we'll move on to that story.
Okay. So those probably are two main reasons. Then when I got to college, as I was a teenager, then I went to college, and you just kind of following the technology, and you excited about the newest thing, and then I got to the NES and then the Super NES, but by the time that we got into 3D stuff, thank you. I started missing the good old days. So that's probably when I got back to Atari era stuff, not only the ColecoVision, but in general. And so my decision was based that first I want to do something with consoles, not computers. Although I love it and I still love the MSX, I knew that I want to do something with consoles, not computers. So and for me, the decision was based on my knowledge at the time. I mean, I knew a lot about the MSX, would make things a lot easier to get started with ColecoVision, and because I had some connections. I played back in the day, and it was a machine that I really appreciate.
Okay, and then you said you had a story about MSX specifically.
Yeah, I keep hearing this thing about that we homebrewers are bringing MSX stuff to the ColecoVision, but actually,
well, it's not that everybody's doing it. It's not that that's all that there is there. I know, for instance, CollectorVision does a lot of MSX conversion.
I do as well, but the thing is, it's not a new thing. It was happening back in the day. So back in the day, I say this, in late 1983, the MSX was announced in mid 1983 in Japan.
Okay.
Late 1983, Konami, they posted a sort of letter in magazines announcing that they would get into the MSX, and they were really committed to the MSX. It was a pretty unusual thing, right? But they only mentioned the MSX, but actually they are planning, doing multi-platform, which was include the MSX and ColecoVision, and that actually happened. That happened. Some of their first games, Athletic Land, Antarctic Adventure, and Monkey Academy, all three got ported for the ColecoVision back in the day. Athletic Land became the Cabbage Patch Kids game. So, and they continue actually producing games for the MSX that could be easily ported for the ColecoVision. How I know that? Because they're using just 1K of RAM, which is there's no reason for doing that if you're producing for the MSX. But they kept doing that during all the 1984 up to early 1985. At that point, probably
because it's what they knew and it was easy, or
what do you mean?
Like, because you said they were only utilizing 1K of RAM.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason why? Is it like, for instance, how like for the Jaguar, they would only use the one 16-bit processor as opposed to...
Well, if you're using just 1K, the ColecoVision only has 1K of RAM. So
yes, I understand that, but the MSX has more, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
So there's no reason to make a game that is only 1K.
Except for maybe they were just like, it's easy.
Yeah. They're good.
I just want to acknowledge this question. We will talk about this later when we're actually talking about the OpCode games.
Okay.
Okay, so you said that what was it? 2002 was Space Invaders, right? I think you said 2002.
Yeah, that was the first one. And I think if I may say so, the unusual thing about my release of Space Invaders collection was, well, first of all, it started, when I started, the goal was to do Space Invaders, period. Just the Space Invaders, right? Yeah. But then I eventually start thinking, Space Invaders is, if it had been released back in the day for the ColecoVision, sort of old game, hard to justify. So start thinking ways to, offer something more.
Change it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Do what Atari did, just make invisible Space Invaders.
And that's when I decided to include Space Invaders Part 2, also known here as Space Invaders Deluxe. And then I started, adding all sort of variations like color version, black and white, and etc. But I think what I did different at that point in time is I decided that I want to have the full experience, not only the game. And the reason for that was because as a kid, one of the things that I really loved was, the packaging experience with the games. Now think about this. I was living in Brazil, where most people, they're not buying official copies of anything because it's more expensive. Usually you could buy a private copy and pay half the price. But I never liked that because I always appreciate, the physical experience of getting the original box and reading stuff and appreciating the illustration and opening, reading the manual, all that kind of stuff. I always loved that. So I thought, I want to offer exactly that. I want to offer a game that feels like something that was released back in the day. And I think that was the first, for Atari era homebrew.
This does not feel like anything that was released back in the day. This is primo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that at that point in time. Let me grab here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If you've got some
yeah.
like OG packaging.
Yeah, I have. So
Oh,
this
that is so cool, though.
yeah, this is Space Invaders collection, the box. So it looked like, a regular box from back in the day.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was, professionally printed.
Yeah, it looks great.
Offset printed. It's a real box. It had offset printed manual labels, and I produced new cartridge shells. I decided that I didn't want to use, recycle. I hate to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what I did was I paid for injection mold tooling in Brazil to be able to produce new cartridge shells. It's not the cartridge that I use today. I did another tooling after that, but that's how OpCode started.
But again, that comes back to the point that Mike showed with your current packaging and stuff. I mean, it's very premium. I mean, you don't see that type of packaging.
Little magnets in here.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I am not complaining at all, by the way. This is like awesome. And it gives you that feel of opening something special.
Yeah. I know. Since last year, we started doing this full time. Although this packaging is starting back in 2016 or something. But the thing is, if you think about, I said that before in another interview, and I think the guy, interviewed me didn't like the answer for some reason. But the truth is, $60 is not cheap.
No, I agree.
Right. So I think, you deserve to get something that looks premium, because basically you're paying the same, you would be paying for a modern game.
I totally agree.
So, we try at least to offer something that feels premium for that reason. For other reasons, one reason, as I said, I actually love the experience of, physical packaging. So we put a lot of care in those things.
You have some of the best packaging in the business, man. I'm telling you.
The actual cartridges themselves, like that is a primo injection molded. Like it does ooze quality, and that's something that I've talked about. And Intellivision Gamer's absolutely right. When you have your packaging, like one of your games in your hand, it feels like something special. And that's something that I've been talking about in a lot of kind of homebrew circles, particularly the Intellivision, which is, if you are charging, and rightfully so, because of the cost that it takes to produce these, 60, $70, 80 in some cases for Intellivision games, you are responsible for providing value for that. And one of the ways that you can do that is with high quality packaging. You've got beautifully printed manuals, nice and new injection molded cartridge with beautiful labels. And of course, the most important part, the stuff you put on the cartridges is high quality. It delivers exactly what it says it's going to. That's something that I really appreciate.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, well, and to his point, because I said and again, I know all different homebrew, developers are all different sizes, that they don't necessarily all have the same resources, and but to the point, it is a lot when you're buying a physical copy, because we kind of had this talk last week. It's just when you are hitting that $60, or in the case of a lot of Intellivision games, $70 plus. I mean, what is it? I mean, if it's a game that's not really much packaging and it's just a recycled cart, it's just like that doesn't give the same effect compared to, okay, I spent $60 on this, and man, I got one heck of a good package there. Like, that's worth every penny of it. And to Mike's point, like I hate the idea of cartridges being recycled. I don't care if it's the worst game in the world. I don't like
it. Was standard practice 10 years ago. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not acceptable now.
Less than that. I'm not gonna.
Oh, I know.
comment,
There is still one. I know there is still one Intellivision publisher, and I love this guy. He's a great guy, but I think he pays more as opposed to getting injection molded shells from others, simply because people give him a hard time for it. And he's like, no, screw you guys. I'm just going to buy and recycle old cartridge shells. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, but I guess it all depends on the size of your the thing you're doing. I mean, if you're selling like just a couple dozen cartridges.
Yeah, but you know what? There are vendors for that now. You can hop onto AliExpress and buy in new injection molded cartridge shells for most systems.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it, but
well, speaking of most systems, and since we're talking about physical games that you are selling, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your how people can get your games and what you're a ColecoVision kind of focused, although you've programmed for other systems, I know, but on your website you actually sell for other consoles. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I only do ColecoVision development myself, but we also offer a few Intellivision games. That was something that we tried early this year, and actually we're late with shipping those games for many problems we had, but we're getting really close, and we didn't want to compromise anything. But if you're watching this, you're waiting for Intellivision games, know that the reason was we had many issues with printing, all sort of basically almost all components involving printing went wrong, and we have to reprint because we don't want to compromise. But and now we are offering Atari 7800 games as well. We have announced 4 games. We have some more planned, soon, hopefully.
Why don't you tell us what those 4 games for the 7800 are? There's at least one that I know that Mr. Postel is super excited about.
Which are the games? So we have Popeye, we have Keystone Coppers, we have Mooncrester, which was a game that I also published for the ColecoVision. I did myself, and now we just announced Uniwar S, and it's another Bob's games that was removed from Atari Age.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a couple more that we should be able to announce soon, hopefully, and we have plans for others in the future. We're in talk with the developers, because I don't do 7800 myself, just because I don't have the time. But yes, we're in talk with some new, never before released games for the 7800 as well, which is very exciting,
awesome.
I think.
And I know you can't necessarily go into details, but some of these re-releases like Popeye, Keystone Coppers, stuff like that, there's going to be new elements in them.
Yeah, but I know that the 2 games that Bob made, Mooncrest and Uniwar S, he did some small improvements. As far as I know, nothing major, collision detection, some improvements, colors and things like that.
Yeah, just colors and hit detection is what he told me, I think.
Keystone Coppers, I don't remember any major change, but Popeye it's basically version 3 now. So Dario is it keeps adding stuff and changing stuff, improving, polishing. And the last time we talked, like a couple of days ago, he was still working on improvements. So
Daryl is especially with Popeye, Daryl is a perfectionist. He's like, no, it needs to be perfect. And so it sounds like if you are a really hardcore, I mean, we're not going to specifically say what that, we talked a little bit in the green room before, But it sounds like if you are specifically an arcade fan of Popeye, this opcode version is going to be the version to get. The difference may be subtle, but it is there.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It should be
You
something
know.
special, I guess. Yeah. So I mean, the last build that I tried was just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So,
the previous build, if people would have been absolutely thrilled and are if you just took the existing version, swapped out the Atari Age logo for the opcode logo, and that was it. But the fact that he's using this as an opportunity to try putting some more into it is awesome.
And that was, to be honest with you, it was not something that I requested. He just decided.
It's a very Daryl thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some conversation. He said, "Well, there are some bugs that I'm aware of. I want to fix those." And he has the logo thing that we had to change. Okay, fine, that's awesome. And then he started, improving the game, polishing. So yeah, that's
so great. I have a list of games that you've either personally programmed or some that you have been involved with in some way, and it's like over 50 different ones. Now, if you go to the opcode, now this is another thing too. If you go, I want to let our audience know that if you go to the opcode website, you just type in opcode.com, it's going to say under construction, and there's a reason for that. But I have included in the description of this video, and I did this late, so I will
for the stream. I will put it in mine as well.
There you go. I was going to suggest that you do that, where you can actually order the games. Now, my question is this regarding the games. The games that you offer, the number of them are not. You have many other ones that are not on the site. So tell us a little bit about why that may be.
Yeah. So what happened was, when I started publishing, I was still living in Brazil, 2002. So while I was in Brazil, I did not publish many games for different reasons. I didn't have much time available. There was a problem with shipping. We don't have buyers in Brazil for ColecoVision. Basically everybody's most of the buyers for ColecoVision are here in the US. Things like that. So I moved to the US back in 2006. At that point, I was still basically only doing like a game a year and publishing myself. And then, life is, sometimes you're too busy. I had some health issues during a couple of years, different things. I went through a divorce, and then I went through a new marriage and things like that. So during many years, I was only actually making games and give them to other publishers actually to publish. So some games were never published under the OpCode name. So what happened now is I have this huge back catalog of games, and since we started doing this full time last year, we're bringing back several of those games that they have been announced, and the plan is eventually to bring everything, the whole back catalog, make it available again. And there's a long conversation we could have about, and you mentioned the box. You love the box. That's something that I have discussed openly before. We're actually working on a new box that's gonna, it's even more premium, and
it's gonna have 3 magnets in the flap.
No, but it's gonna have a pocket for the manual.
Oh, nice. Okay, like and on the inside of the.
And more because again, we can talk about a bunch of things here, but for example, we're planning, and I hope I remember where I stop here to do this, but we're planning to start a version of the Super Game Club. for the Atari's platforms.
So specifically
okay.
for the Atari platform, you're going to have one
Yeah.
club and then
Yes.
another club for the other platforms.
Exactly. So today we have what we call the Super Game Club for the ColecoVision, and we published this magazine here, which is a printed magazine, like old school thing, club style. When we have interviews, previews, etc., etc. And we have we hired actually a new graphic designer just to take care of those magazines, because the plan was always to have 2 magazines every year, and never happened just because Grazis just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
So now we have someone that's going to be dedicated to the magazine, and the plan is to have 2 for the ColecoVision and 2 for Atari's platforms.
Well, and the great thing about having Atari exclusive stuff is that market is already used to waiting 1.5 2 years for everything. so no rush.
That's
Hopefully.
another podcast. That could take a whole podcast talking about that.
Oh boy.
Hopefully we're not gonna break that record, but
I don't know. Your releases might end up coming out before some.
I think they will. There's going to be people that don't.
And in fact, because you've like Popeye for the 7800, I posted the review, and then I posted another video talking about how you were re-releasing it, and there were so many comments on that second video saying, "I'm still waiting for mine. I should just order this one. I will get it before I get my Atari Age one."
Yep, they're telling me the same thing. So
so fingers crossed that we're not gonna have any issues with the new box. The box, the design is gonna be completed this month, and then it's going to the factory, and fingers crossed that we should have the boxes ready for the Atari release in March. And actually, the idea is to the box is going to be first used with Atari games. And another cool thing about the box is, as part of the Atari version of the Super Game Club, we're going to have we kind of announced that in our latest newsletter for Atari. We're gonna have this sort of competitions for the games we have, similar to Activision had with those patches,
or an OpCode coin.
Yeah, but instead we're gonna offer medals. Not a single. It's gonna be one different medal per game. In the new box, it has a place for you. In case you earn one of those, there is a place to store your medal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if we want to just add controversy to controversy, you mean like the Amico physical release games that have the little coin?
Yeah. Similar to that, yes.
The only value that came in that box is no coins.
So I have
I'm feisty today.
Well, and I was going to say, because
Me too.
a couple questions. And if you don't have one, that's fine. Like, as you're talking about this, do you have a prototype in the new box you could show us right now?
No. I have a concept. No. Here's the thing. I have a concept, but I prefer not show the concept, because I think it's gonna be nicer. I don't think any render gonna make justice.
I get it. It makes sense. Yep.
Okay, you have to see. There are a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you get that final box, you mail one to me after the Canada Post strike.
No, I will. I'm gonna send for you and some other YouTubers to show. But there's a lot of cool things about the box. For example, our logo inside is something that we don't have today. Or we're gonna have a sort of faceplate covering the cartridge side, including covering the place for the medal. So if you don't have the medal, you're gonna have this nice faceplate that's custom for each game, different for each game.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and this is still, and you're still targeting, like, this isn't like price increase stuff. This is you're
No,
targeting it for
yeah,
what you already produced. That's awesome.
yeah.
And with that, because again, I know I don't think we really talked about it a lot, unless I just completely missed it. It's just because I know we jumped into the Atari 7800 games, like what you were going to be releasing, but
We glossed over in television.
yeah, and we'll get back to that. I mean, you're not going to let us leave here without talking in television, but
Yes.
but my question is that because like in a lot of our interviews, it's just there's just a lot of people when we ask about 7800, they're just like, there's just so much more involved in 7800 production and everything else. Like what made you decide, what, I've been doing ColecoVision forever, and I'm just going to jump in and start doing 7800 games now? I mean, you apparently figured out an equation that a lot of people struggle with, because again, we've heard it time and time again, like, oh, I do stuff for the 2600 because it's easy to flash, the ARM chip or whatever it is in the for the 2600 game. But like 7800 is a whole different animal for getting that cartridge made and the board made and the chips put on it and stuff.
All right, so let me try to answer that. So why Atari 7800? No, I would say this. The truth is, first we started with the Intellivision because we thought actually conversations about publishing games for television, different Atari platforms, they started at the same time, back in 2020, last year. The problem was, I think we did a bet that the Intellivision would be the best first platform for us to publish outside the ColecoVision, because we thought it had more in common with the ColecoVision. And
the controllers have similar inputs.
Yeah. No, I mean,
both controllers
I don't know,
bad.
in my mind, it's sort of, it had, in my mind, it had a similar community, sort of, community and things like that. I don't know. But what happened was we overlooked some stuff. For example, Intellivision has many publishers currently.
Yeah,
I would say maybe too many. So
I would agree with you. I think there's probably four main ones that I would say,
and good ones.
And yeah, they're especially I would say Electronite and Intellivision Collector.
Yeah,
they're pretty damn high quality with the gatefold boxes.
Exactly. So what happened was, for us now, as I said, I'm doing this full time now, Graz as well. So it has to make sense in terms of business. That's the truth. And I.
Although, I don't recall, how much are your Intellivision games in your store?
They're a little more than the usual. I think there's 65 or something. I don't remember exactly.
There's a couple are 65, and the Goonies is 60 on the site.
But the problem is the costs are higher to produce television.
Well, I was gonna say, even at $65, I mean, I think Intellivision Revolution sells their stuff at $65, but Electronite, Homebrew Inc., and Intellivision Collector, they're $70 a pop. Because there are added costs.
Yeah, but again, anyways, my point is, from a business perspective, I think this Intellivision is,
it's a crowded market.
Yes, has many publishers, good publishers. It's just hard to get into the market. So the 7800 happened. I was not actually. Should I say that? We had many conversations.
It's okay to say the truth there.
It's just between us. Don't worry, nobody's watching.
Yeah, we had. Here's the thing: we had some deals, informal deals in place, but people, they're kind of waiting for us, and we decided to go first with the Intellivision, and Intellivision got us busy, and we overlooked other things. And we saw, some other things are happening. I'm not gonna say what. And we realized that, maybe we should have.
There's an opening here.
Yeah, we should have paid more attention there, because we missed some opportunities. And that's when we decide, well, maybe it has to be now. So again, we had those conversations going on, and it was just a matter of formalizing and say, okay, yeah, I know you guys are waiting, so let's go, let's do it.
Well, and the other thing, and pardon my ignorance if there are lots of them out there, but I don't think there are. Aside from Atari Age, I'm not I can't think of any 7800 any other 7800 publisher.
Exactly.
So there's a huge opening there, and also, okay, so when I did my Keystone Coppers review, my intro was like two Soviet poor people talking about the Great Purge, right? And so there is a huge opportunity to pick up some of those games. Now, granted, they're unlicensed ports. There's always potential danger with doing that.
Yes.
But there is opportunity there that was not there before.
Yes, I agree. And the other thing is, if you think about, OpCode, the main kind of game that I like to do is I like to do arcade ports. So we're best known probably, in the ColecoVision communities as the guys that makes the best arcade ports. And so it also made sense, to have those games under the OpCode brand.
It's a very similar thing to what Champ Games is doing with the 2600 now, with all those arcade ports.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they have the same kind of reputation for quality.
Yes.
I've noticed. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, Eduardo. Go ahead.
No, I think that's. I don't know.
He was just agreeing.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I have observation on the same page that had the bio, that had the list of games. They have a list of your own label and then ones that were distributed at Atari Age. Is that right?
We actually, here's the thing. With Atari Age, we had a deal for a couple of years with Albert to actually just distribute a couple of our games, but the game, we are providing the whole thing, the final. We are providing the assembled game to him. It's not his.
Okay, so the complete.
Usual, where I just provide the game and he's taking care of packaging, stuff like that. Actually, I was shipping the game fully assembled. It was just a matter of.
Okay. Well, the site also mentions Pixel Boy and Collector Vision games.
Yes.
So it was a similar situation at those places as well, or
no. In those cases, different. Those cases, I did the game and I sold to them or something else, something like that.
Either sold or licensed the ROM.
Yeah. I did the port and just okay, you can sell.
Okay. Well, speaking of ROMs,
I went through a divorce, so I was like.
Yeah,
I hear you. I did that too. Not recommended.
Yeah. No. Yes. Not wise.
Yeah. Mike had mentioned ROMs, and I had mentioned to you in the green room prior that I was going to ask you this question. Yeah. With the multi-carts that are available, and the fact that we didn't really talk another thing about your super game module. We want to talk about that, but. A number of your games need the super game module in order to play. So people need to know that when they order. Yes. Yep, it's right on the box. But with the advancements of multi-carts, there are some people who, for monetary reasons, may just want to buy the ROM. But as of right now, there's not really a way to get those. And so I was going to ask you, you didn't reveal, so I don't know what the answer is. Is that something that may be possible in the future for those of us who like to use multi-carts?
Yes. So I'm going to answer this question with some remarks here. First, we don't have, I know, I think the intellivision has that, but today we don't have a safe way to sell ROMs for the ColecoVision. I tried that a couple years ago, didn't go well. You know, a couple of weeks later, I saw someone was already sharing stuff. So, so we don't have a safe platform. That's the first thing. The second thing is the economics of this selling ROM thing. And again, we're doing this full time now. Think about this. All the modern companies making video games, and talking about, I don't know, Nintendo and Xbox and or Microsoft and Sony. When you go buy a ROM, you do not expect to pay like a fraction of the cost of a physical copy, and there's a good reason for that, you know. But with homebrews, it created this thing where, you know, people expect that, oh, okay, if I buy a ROM, I should pay, you know, half the price maximum, right? And you need to understand.
Oh yeah, because there's no way. I mean, yeah, you're right. In the homebrew scene, there's no way someone's going to pay $60 for the digital copy or $60 for the physical copy.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're going to go to the physical copy every single time.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Sure.
There's some other things that, you know, we seen in the homebrew scene, like for example, you buy the physical copy and then you get the digital, which sounds fair. And it's kind of, oh, it makes sense. After all, I bought the game, right? So why not? But, you know, if you think about, like, sell the physical copy and keep the digital copy, it's a game for free. And
like what I like, I know Intelligent Collector does this. I know Champ Games does this, where it's a package. So the digital copy doesn't come free with the physical copy, but it's reduced. So it's like, instead of $20 for the ROM, it's $10 to add it to your physical. But that's not going to make sense to everybody. And certainly, like Champ Games, in the vast majority of cases, programs his own games. So he's not paying a programmer. If you are buying a ROM from a programmer, you need to recoup on that ROM. So I do understand trepidation from publishers, but that is a format that I like when they sell the combo.
Yes, sure. But that said, so what I'm saying is we don't do that today, for the reasons that I just explained. And there's also the reason that I personally I like, as I said, I like the experience of physical. And you know, if I sell only the ROM, part of the experience is gone. And you know, but anyways, that said, we are working on something that should solve all 3 points that I just mentioned, at least for us. Okay. And hopefully you'll be announced soon.
Well, that'd be great. I mean, because again, it's one of those, you know, it's always a tough conversation because at the end of the day, like, I think all of us here would prefer that physical copy. But at the same time, you know, $60 here, $60 there, $70 here, that all adds up quick. And when you want to support the homebrew community, it is, and you want to try to grab all this stuff, sometimes it's just a lot more economical and convenient to have that digital copy cart. I mean, we've gotten kind of spoiled there, you know, with modern gaming, like the Steam store and stuff, where at the end of the day, it's just nice to have all my stuff right there and I can just click on it and play it, you know, where
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, and that is something that I know that for Phil and I, like, I love getting the. Pardon?
Go ahead. I mentioned Casey. I know where you're going.
Oh, okay, yeah, but with Phil and I, we love to get the physical copy. This is what we collect. This is what we play on our own. But when we're doing streaming or making a video, capturing the video from the ROM is going to give us much better picture, makes for better content.
Yes.
So there's always that benefit as well. Yeah. Now there was a question that I mentioned quite a ways back, and it should be a good, a quick answer, but it was from, I'm going to find it here. Here we go. For the 7800 games that you're releasing, do you have any idea what the support is for the 2600 plus / 7800 plus? I think I know the answer to this, but
yeah,
I think I do too.
No, what I heard from the developers that all the games work with the 7800 plus, and actually both, right?
So last year when the 2600 plus,
yeah,
go ahead.
At least the latest with the latest firmware.
Yes.
Yeah, the latest firmware for the 2600 plus. So last year when I did my 2600 plus review, I called it the completely unfair homebrew based review of the 2600 plus. I will be doing the same for the 7800 plus. So all of the homebrews, both 2600 and 7800 that I've got, including the Atari Age versions of Keystone Coppers and Popeye, I will be testing, and presumably, if those versions work, your version should as well.
Spoiler alert. Keystone Coppers I played today on my 2600 plus, and usually Bob's games don't have an issue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Popeye, and I don't have the latest update.
But I'm going to be trying it on the 7800 plus because I ordered mine from Amazon.
No, Popeye does like so. As long as you got the latest firmware, and the thing is that the way 7800 games are designed, it's not like the issue you're having with some of the higher end 2600 homebrews with the bank switching, ARM setups where the dumper is able to handle 7800 games is a lot more forgiving. And I know through the firmware updates, I don't want to say there's 100% compatibility, but I think when it comes to 7800, I think you can play almost everything now. I think. So
Jeremiah is one of those people that commented on the Popeye that he should have just ordered it from you because he still doesn't have his Atari Age order.
But here's the thing: since we're talking about, if you don't mind, hardware, right? So the Super Game module is a thing for the ColecoVision. And the other thing we do for the ColecoVision in terms of hardware is, showing our cartridge. Not only the shell is custom, but actually the whole cartridge is custom. We call we call the Super Game cartridge. And one of the things that the cartridge is able to do is save your high
save your game.
I mean, or whatever, settings, whatever you can save.
Writable memory on the cartridge.
Yeah. But it does one other thing that, we don't talk about, but we're going to start talking about soon as well. It has to do with the conversation we're having about distribution. There's one more thing that the cartridge is capable of doing, which I think is very cool. Now, we don't have anything right now for 7800 because we just got, started with 7800. We have a custom packaging, but it's not our cartridge yet. We hope to get there eventually, hopefully not, soon. First with the shell, but also, I don't know, maybe with some other things. And there are some other hardwares that I cannot discuss yet, related to the ColecoVision. I have plans, I hope, to do something.
Yeah, there's a question here that we can't answer.
I'm sorry.
That's from our chat. We can't talk about it, but people know it's coming, and it's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, have to wait.
Very exciting. But I know we also have some plans for involving Atari 7800 if possible, in the future. and something that maybe a lot of people don't know about that is that I was part of the team doing the 7800 expansion module with Kurt Vendel a long time ago, So
okay, so you have a history with the 7800.
I have actually. I was going through some of the emails that we were exchanging at that point, and we are having conversations with what his name is, Steve Galson, I think, the guy who designed the 7800. And we exchanging, and we were talking about some technical stuff that I couldn't even understand what I'm talking about. It was like, it's not possible that I wrote that, because I have no recollection and I have no idea what I'm talking about here. But I did. At some point, I knew a lot about 7800, from the hardware point of view. One contribution I made was, for example, the Yamaha FM chip is there. It's my fault. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was not part of the initial plan. And Kurt was a little, about that, but I insisted. I mean, my mindset when doing hardware is this. I think most people, when they do hardware for old stuff, they think about, they have this player mentality that let's put there things that were available back in the day. So the XM, according to Kurt, was Pocky chip and more RAM, and it had this interface for Atari 8-bit peripherals and that kind of thing. That was part of the plan, back in the day. And for me, it's always about the future. For me, hardware makes sense if we're gonna bring something new, because we have players enough. I can play Atari 7800 in a bunch of different ways. I don't need to come up with a new 7800, right? But I think there is always opportunities, especially if you can do software, to do something, to innovate in terms of putting some feature that can, maybe take that platform to the next step. And that's what I try to do with, for example, the ColecoVision, because I'm doing the development myself, but I would like to do with the 7800 if I can in the future as well.
Wow, you heard it here first.
Well, I was going to say, off topic, but I do want to answer the one message from Raven about the Donkey Kong on 7800.
Okay, sure, I'll bring it up.
So, I've had no issues playing Donkey Kong 7800 version on my 2600 plus, because even on my YouTube channel, I have where I was showing off my controllers on the 2600 plus, and I demoed that exact game. So, that particular person might have just had a bad cartridge, or it needed cleaned or something. I
would say, especially on Amazon, take complaints that something doesn't work with a grain of salt, because I remember, like, this is years ago, I sold a Nintendo 64 to somebody, and she called me because she bought it for her son. She found her old cartridges, and she called me. She's like, it doesn't work. I'm like, oh, I tested that thing. I went over. Her games were filthy. It had nothing to do with the console. Sometimes the games are just dirty and they don't work.
So,
wow.
Good. Well, I know we're kind of getting here toward the end. I guess, Eduardo, do you have anything else specifically you want to announce tonight, or share with the group, or?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
He's got to be safe. He's got to be safe.
Yeah, but hopefully we should have soon, but not tonight. Sorry.
No. Well, no,
when you have those announcements, you call us first. We'll bring you right on.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
No, and we appreciate you coming on. And I will say, like I said, I'm very excited that you took the bull by the horns on the 7800 games and getting these.
A lot of people are.
Because I know so many people missed out on the Final Chance stuff, or they did pay and didn't get them yet. But with that, I mean,
I do have to say, and this is I swear it's the last tongue in cheek, but Mr. Postile made a comment that Albert was moving. And of course, Jeremiah was like, what state is he moving to? Alaska?
Yeah, he's keeping that under wraps. I know he didn't mention that.
But no, I do appreciate you doing that, because I know on this show we've asked so many people, like, hey, what's the chance you'd be bringing 7,800 games? And it's just every answer we got just made our hearts sink a little bit. Like, man,
it's like, oh, we struggle with the pokey chip, or we struggle with this or that. Yeah,
right. So just to know that you were able to, crack that nut, and now you got 4 titles coming here in March. And
more on the way.
More.
Well, I don't know if my wallet is hoping for more right away. But I am very excited.
You have any dishes to wash?
Yeah, but I am very excited on the 4 that are announced so far, because they're all quality games, and it's just great to see them in a physical format again for folks, especially with the 7,800 plus and 2,600 plus, because again, that's such a great avenue now to experience these homebrew games in a physical format. So,
yeah,
very exciting.
Yeah, if I may add something else, the reason why I got involved, for example, the 7,800XM module, long time ago, was because I was always a huge fan of GCC. Those guys are amazing. And in my opinion, GCC, starting in late '82, GCC was Atari. They're doing all the good stuff that Atari was still releasing during that time. For me, it's coming from GCC. So, it's just a company that I just admired a lot. And I had the chance to talk a couple of times with Steve, that I know I mentioned, a great guy, super smart. And I, in a certain way, if I may say so, keeping, of course, it's that I see OpCode sort of GCC. I share a lot of things I think with GCC in terms of, I try to think out of the box. GCC had this thing like, why not? How about we start doing a home computer? Or how about we start doing a new console? They had this, this innovation. Then, it was they're fast. So we try to do the same thing, right? If you want to stay in this business, and the truth is, for us at this point, is a business. You have to innovate. You have to offer something more. I mean, think about this. We're publishing for Atari 7800. Atari is also publishing for Atari 7800. So, we basically are competing with them, and we need to offer something. They have an advantage that's clear, right? They have the name, etc. So, I think we need to think out of the box and come up with, try to come up with cool things that Atari 7800 players would want to have. So.
Last question. It's one from our chat. How long are the pre-orders going to be up for? I would assume it's up until they're ready, and then they're no longer pre-orders. You could just order them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the plan. That's
all
the plan.
right. Wow, it has been a great show. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Yep, it was great to have you on, Eduardo. Eduardo Mello. That's fun to say. Eduardo Mello.
And it's
that's my Elf Christmas movie insert there. But anyway, for those of you who didn't hear earlier, if you are watching from Retro Bliss Gaming right now, the links for how to order these games are up. And if Mike hasn't done it already, which I wouldn't be surprised if he has.
I've been managing comments. They'll be up in 5 minutes.
It's kind of hard. But soon after, Mike is also going to have the links in the description of his video, because he is simulcasting on his channel. So we are excellent. We are anxiously waiting for more things to happen at OpCode Games, and we really appreciate what you're doing, especially for me with the Atari 7800 homebrew collection, and I'm anxious to see that grow. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it was a great time here. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, if there's some special news come down the pike, we may try to have you back on if that's all right. We'll see how things go in the future. And so with that, thank you everybody who's watching, and you guys have a great evening. We'll see you. Oh, I wanted to let you guys know real quick. Next week,
yes,
we have to tell you, Dan and Gary Kitchen and David Crane from Activision and Audacity Games is going to be on the podcast. So we have back-to-back great episodes tonight and next week. So you'll want to tune into that. So you guys have an awesome evening, and we'll see you next time on Retro Bliss Rewind.